What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday morning to all of you. I hope the sun is shining for you because we have massive gambling opportunities on today's MLB card and the WNBA slate. There's so many great games. I have 18 bets in. There's about 4 or 5 more I want to make. 18 bets in MLB alone, 4 in WNBA. I'm ready for a day. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We got stacks, plays of the day in business here. Let me copy and paste them as we begin to attack the board. Ron Crawford joined us last night in the chat, and he gave us his best bet shotgun play of the day as well. So we have that ready to roll. We will discuss all of these bets here. Please put your plays of the day in the chat so we can discuss them at the end. But we've got a lot of work to do, so we should just get right at it. We got Justin McKelvey, Josh Witt in the house. Serious business, ready to get to work. Justin McKelvey, Walla Dose, Jared Jackson. Great to see all of you guys. And yes, I am rocking a Boston attire as they go for 15 straight wins, and I'm on them in game 1. And I want to fade Bradish after the $90 million contract in game 2. We will see if that comes to fruition. We got top set in the house, fresh off a 7-0 day. D-trip on the Red Sox first 5 minus a half, a plus 105. I can't wait to talk about that game because, again, I talk about I don't really think the books make mistakes. But, man, it was 16 cents difference at Bet365. Bet365 never gives me the best number. I was able to get the Red Sox first 5 at minus 130 when it was minus 146 at Penny, which was shocking. Very, very shocking, but I will take it. Brian Smith says, Pirates game 1, Cole gets whacked. I'm on the other side there, Brian, but I can't wait to talk about it. And Geo bed ready to go. Yes, the best bet yesterday, the Astros, was good money, my man. Love to see you getting paid. Let's get right to work. Thank you guys for joining us. This is a morning bag right here on Pop Sports Radio. And we've got 17 MLB games. 4 WNBA games. I got to be very aware of the clock here because, of course, we have the daily sesh with Debbie Cabin, Dutch Boy Fresh right after this. So let's roll. We got Coins best bet here. Dougie Wise in the house. Dougie Wise running hot. Matty Ice Taint play of the day is on a big streak right now. Easy cashers cashed his player prop in the first inning yesterday. Just running nice. Let's go. We start with the double dip. We're going to talk about both double dips off the hop. Game 1, Pittsburgh Pirates 52-49, 25-25 on the road at the New York Yankees 56-44, 25-22 at home at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Let's get right to the weather here to get started. Let's get right to the weather. I thought I had it up. I guess. Oh, yes, we do. Okay, let's get right to the weather. We have Yankee Stadium for the opener, even for runs. So this has changed since last night. Swiggy, I've got, make sure I'm all right there. Yeah, I've got even 0% difference now for the run. So we've had a change since last night. And you've got game 2 up there. So you're right. So you just have game 2 at 7:05 p.m. Game 1 at 1:05 p.m. is 0% runs. It's plus 20% homers, minus 15% doubles and triples, minus 7% singles. And then game 2 is what you see right there. It's minus 4% runs. So the game gets more runs suppressing as the evening wears on here. We have action. And I'm on the other side of Brian Smith, but I can understand your expectation of Cole getting whacked. I get it. I'm on the other side here. We also have Justin McKelvey stacks play of the day right off the hop. Bellinger here, 3 plus hits, runs, and RBIs at plus 128. And shout out to our guy, Justin McKelvey. Let's get this started with stacks. Stacks, 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 stacks. We have our old friend Helen Mitch Keller on the bump at this point. Helen Mitch Keller has not had a good season. 5.14 ERA, 5.39 expected ERA, 1.33 whip. I guess I got some comfort in thinking that Helen Mitch Keller was just mediocre. But maybe Mitch Keller is a little worse than that. He was highly sought after at the trade deadline last year. We shall see if he continues to be highly sought after. Turnbuckle Tommy has the Pirates team total over 3.5 in his pockets. His 3.5 is too low for the Pirates versus a right-handed pitcher. The Pirates are hitting right-handed pitching and left-handed pitching very, very hard. They're just hitting. Now, Keller is capable of stepping up in high-profile games. We've seen it in the past. Generally, we see that at PNC Park, not really on the road. But I'm fading Mr. Keller here. Last start, he only made it through 3 innings, allowed 3 runs and a 10-5 loss at home versus the Braves. July 3rd, 6 innings, 5 runs and 9-5 loss at the Nationals. He's not pitching very well. Garrett Cole is coming off a very strong start against the Dodgers. Those 2 runs he allowed in the top of the 7th. He was great through 6 innings, and then he allowed the 2-run shot top of the 7th. They lamented leaving him in for as long as they did. Now, he's a pitcher who steps up in high-profile situations, and I don't know if we count this as a high-profile situation. We probably don't. We probably don't consider it a high-profile situation. But regardless here, I think Cole's going to pitch well in the second half of the year. 3.93 ERA, 3.59 expected ERA, 1.16 WHIP. I think it takes time to find yourself when you miss so long. I mean, he missed the entirety of last season with Tommy John surgery. So my expectation is that Cole pitches well here. And I have moved on the Yankees first 5 -1/2. Now, when I moved on it, it was not available at BetOnline. It was not available at Pinnacle. And it's risky when you take a 365 number. Generally speaking, I would say 85 to 90% of the time, 80, let's say 80 to 85% of the time, I should have waited. I could have got a better line if I waited for Penny to open up or Bet-Online. This time, I did beat it. I got the first 5 -1/2 at -120. I'm comfortable with that. Comfortable with the whole situation. When we get to the bullpens, that's where the Yankees do have an advantage. But I really want to focus on Cole. I want to focus solely really on Cole. The Yankees, 2.03 ERA, 1.01 WHIP over the last 30 days, bullpen-wise, pitching at a very high level. Pirates bullpen, 4.24 ERA, 1.40 WHIP. They've struggled at times. And then when we get to the sticks, look, we know what the Pirates have been doing. 295, 858 OPS. The Pirates have been hitting righties extremely hard. We know that. And the Dodgers, who Garrett Cole just shut down, are not hitting righties very hard at this point in time. So that is a concern, and I can understand why, Cappers would think that this would get, touched, or that he would get touched by the Pirate sticks here. But I'm going to back Cole. I'm going to back Cole here with comfort. So let's take a look at the line history here for our first game of the double dip. The total opened up at 9 juice to the under. Now it's a 9.5. Slightly juiced to the under, but still it's moved to a 9.5. So it's moved up a complete half run. And then when we get to the money line, we've seen a real move towards Garrett Cole. And it appears to be continuing. This opened up at -159. It's now -173. So we've had 14 cents of movement towards Garrett Cole. Josh Witt also on the Yankees in game 1, backing the Yankees in game 1 on the full game money line. When we get to the cash flow here for game 1, we have 81% of the tickets on the Yankees and 62% of the cash. They are public. 66% of tickets on the under, 79% of cash on the under, and it climbs. Topset says, I trust Cole, but the Pirates bats are real, and the Yanks are not really scoring a lot, so he is passing. I can understand that, but I'm getting my day started with Garrett Cole, first 5. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board for us is game 2, and we have Maximus Fried returning, which is of extreme interest to all of us. Max Fried returning. He's been gone for some time, and very interesting situation. I mean, so he left with a left elbow bone bruise in mid-May, and he comes back. He was supposed to throw 60 pitches in a second rehab start today, and they're going to decide to throw those 60 pitches in the show against the Pirates team that's raking lefties. And we'll get to that in a second. But let's start with Bubba Chandler here in the Bronx. We know that the weather is somewhat more run suppressing in game 2 than it is in game 1. Bubba Chandler, 3-8, 4.77 ERA, 4.14 expected ERA. It was an arm injury that Fried was out for, and the Pirates are hitting lefties, and I think I could get to the Pirates' first 5, and we will take a look at all of the important issues at hand here. Sharpie saying about that first spot, though, that Cole has been dominant first time through the order, maybe worth a first 3. As with Fried, they're desperate. He's not ready. He was supposed to throw 2 more minor league games. I agree with that, Sharpie. They are desperate, and they must have concerns about what Will Warren's doing, as he was the pitcher who was supposed to throw today. I think Will Warren is likely a fade as we move forward. And I was planning on fading him yesterday, but that was not a slam dunk spot for me. That took a lot of hemming and hawing before I had the confidence to move on Bubba Chandler first 5. And Justin McKelvey says Pirates enjoy punching on Fried. He said he watched it so many times in Pittsburgh. So Bubba Chandler's last two starts, he hasn't, got through 5. He's not pitching at a very high level. I could have hesitancy, but I think I will move. When we get to the bullpens, we already discussed how good the Yankees bullpen is, and the Yankees aren't hitting righties, but the Pirates hit lefties almost as hard as they're hitting righties right now. Pirates versus lefties, 283, 842 OPS. Let's get into the line history here for Game 2 of the double dip here, and we've had a slight move towards the Pirates from plus 154 to plus 145. That is appealing. That is quite appealing. Let's get to the total here for this one. From a total standpoint, we had a 10-cent move towards the over. Let's get into the cash flow. Nasty Nate, I did wear this for the Boston backers so they can get to 15 and 16 straight, as Blue Jay fans have given up on the season. So Robert Franklin, Game 2, Pirates Yankees first 5 over 4.5. I really want to see the price difference from first 5 in full game, and I should have done that here in Game 1. So let's do it for both. The price difference here for Game 1 on Cole, it's minus 169 full game at Pinnacle, and then first 5's minus 176. So not much of a difference. We know there's more vig on those first 5s. So let's get into Game 2 here and see if there is a difference, and I'm hoping there is. Give me more reason to take the Pirates first 5 plus a half. Let's see. The Pirates in Game 2 are plus 143. First 5 plus 145. So if I wanted Pirates first 5 plus a half, I get that at plus 101. That's a pretty appealing proposition for me at this point. It's a pretty appealing proposition for me. I'm going to put Pirates first 5 plus a half here for Game 2. I kind of want to see how Game 1 goes, but if I can catch with Cole, if the Yankees take care of business in Game 1, I kind of like attacking Fried here. You have to think that the Pirates are going to be patient if they know that Fried has a 60 pitch count. That make them work for it. So there we go. That's the Yankees double dip. Let's roll in to the Red Sox Orioles double dip, and shout out to Nasty Nate. We have Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. Let's get right to the Ballpark Pal park factors at Fenway. It's plus 16% runs, plus 5% homers, plus 27% doubles and triples, and plus 6% singles. Let's get into this matchup. We have Dean Kramer on the hill. He has had such an interesting campaign. Didn't make the team out of spring training. Then came in about halfway through April. He lost that starting spot to Savali. Came through halfway through April and looked decent through 2 starts. Now he's just been giving up the long ball at an alarming rate, but then he gets shelved with the right quad strain, and he's out for a long time. He goes on the DL after the start, April 18th. He doesn't come back till July 1st, and he shoves in his first start back. He does not look great in the second start back, and then his last start, he only makes it through 4 innings. And he doesn't allow a home run. And he's not allowed a home run now in 2 starts. The reason why I talk about this is because he's allowed 9 home runs this year. 9 home runs. Unbelievable. He's got a 1.12 whip, and he's allowed 9 home runs in 26 innings, which is alarming. Shout out to Mally Mal. We got Rabbit ready to get to work. Robert Franklin says Red Sox money line. Dougie Wise saying very close to betting Boston here. He expects a pitching duel first 5. That's well within the realm of possibilities with Kramer, but Jake Bennett's been a beast. 9 starts in the Major League, 5 quality starts. He was a beast in Worcester, AAA Worcester, 1.60 ERA, 2.82 expected ERA, 1.02 whip there, 2.35 ERA, 0.88 whip in the show, with a 2.99 expected ERA, second round pick in the 22 draft by the Nationals out of the University of Oklahoma. Look, the guy's being just incredible. What do you, if we go through his last 6 starts, he has allowed 5 earned runs. 3 of those 6 starts, he's not allowed an earned run. Miss Smokes a lot looking at the O's, liking the O's, and that's all, well and good. I'm not here to talk you off anything. I just really like Jake Bennett. And the Red Sox have a lot of magic going on. And again, I talk about the concerns when a team switches cities, with a 7+ winning streak. Having a day off is no problem. I don't think it's a problem. This team's just, hot. I mean, maybe they don't want a day off, but this team's hot, a little breather. Don't move cities and roll. So that's the plan. And shout out to our guy DJ Big Boss. It's college football study time. Shout out to Who Bang and Sports in the house. God, I was so upset that I didn't get to run with you guys when I was in LA, but it's tough with a young family, man, as you guys all know. And I just didn't get a weekend day free, and everybody's working during the week, and it was too bad. Flank steak play of the day is in, and we have tied after 2 innings from Philly, Eagle, Flyer on Brewers, Royals, Braves. Let me get all of those here copied and pasted. But my plan is simple. Just believe in the Boston Red Sox and the magic that they're conjuring up. I am late to the party, but I got in time to party. I cashed with them last game, and I plan to cash on them again. So I'm on the Red Sox in game 1. Let's take a look at that line history for game 1 of this one. We have another total that's climbed almost exactly like what we saw in that Pittsburgh Yankees game 1 from 9 to 9.5. And then when we get to the money line, we've had an 8-cent move towards the Boston Red Sox from minus 140 to minus 148. And when we get to the price difference as well, let's get to the price difference first 5 in full game. I did double down on this one. When we get to the price difference here, sorry, it's way deep because Pinnacle waited to drop this line. It's minus 142, now minus 144 full game, and minus 147 first 5. I got a minus 130 first 5 at Bet365 an hour ago, and I couldn't understand, why they'd be so off market. It's just not like them. I'd like to just quickly check if they're still at that spot here, and no, they're not. They're at minus 150. It was a mistake. Crazy. Minus 130 was insane. I thought for sure I'd have to take the first 5 minus half. If there is a pitching duel, I should be in business. D-Trip saying fading Bennett is bad for the bankroll. And Tron Hopkins in the house, loving the Angels team total and Atlanta team total over here. Top Set says, I like the O's. The day off kind of makes the smoke and mirrors visible. Yeah, I believe in what the Red Sox are doing, and I think Jake Bennett is their best pitcher. So here we have a guy who's allowed 5 earned runs over the last 6 starts. Knows what's at stake here. He's so hot. Like, he's just running so hot. I'm very comfortable with the whole situation. Getting the minus 130 on the first 5, yes, it's expensive, but I don't need them to be ahead. I mean, if the push is in play, that's fine as well. So let's roll on. That is game 1. Now, if the Red Sox win game 1, I want to fade Bradish, and I got 90 million reasons why. I want to see how he handles the pressure. And if the Red Sox win game 1, I will be backing Ranger Suarez in a very similar fashion. First 5 full game. And look at that. DJ Big Boss says, I will be exclusively available 1 day a week for you. Oh, I love that for this college football season. Okay, we will be in talks for that. We'd love to have you rocking with us. DJ Big Boss. Man, the Mountain West, where he does it best, but he can deliver in all conferences. Jose Perez in the house. So there we go. I'm going to be on Boston if they win their 15th in a row. If they don't, I will likely pass on the game. We've had a big move towards Baltimore in game 2. It's gone from plus 140 to plus 123. There's not a pitcher listed here, although we believe it's going to be Suarez. Maybe he was pushed back for a reason. Maybe he's not ready to come back. That would also play a role here in this one. But I don't know if it would, because then at what point, if it's not Suarez and this line just continues to move towards the Orioles, my whole plan was just to fade Bradish after the contract. And when I have a plan like that, I'm just not going to let one a line move towards a pitcher like Kyle Bradish get in the way of it when I knew that was probably something that we were going to have to deal with. So that's it for me here. I can't wait for these double headers. How lucky are we to start with? We have 2 double dips on the card and the Yankees and Red Sox involved in them. It's going to be a fun day. There is our double header. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board, 2:10 p.m. Eastern, New York Mets, Milwaukee Brewers. We're at American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We have run suppressing weather here in Milwaukee, minus 8% runs, plus 7% homers, minus 16% doubles and triples, and minus 11% singles. We have Christian Scott, whom I love, going up against Logan Henderson, whom I love as well. These are two pitchers here that I really want to back, and this was moving towards the over, which made no sense to me. A shout out to Wine Time Sports in the house, says he's going to be trying to be done all of the SEC today. Man, very, very exciting to have Wine Time, DJ Big Boss, cooking with us for college football. Dav Fenn says, by the way, he's a Nose fan, and he doesn't want them to lose today. I can understand that. Says Sox would go for the all-time record if they sweep the Jays. That's exciting. I like it all. By the way, Rod's Wacking House has bet against Chad Tracy in road games on the money line after 5 or more consecutive home games. Tracy's record in Boston 0-5. But we're talking Mets, a Brew Crew here. And this line was moving to the over. I would like to skip our regular routine, Swiggy, here and go right to the line history here because it has changed. I came so close to betting this before the show, but I just wanted to talk this out with you guys. When we come to the line history here, we have now had a move to the under. And Heritage has moved it to the under. Bookmaker has finally moved it to the under. Damn. Another 5-cent move here in New York Mets, Milwaukee to the under. Okay. So I was seeing that it was slightly moving. It's moved a little bit more. The problem that I had was, why was the first 3 so juiced to the over? Reminded me of the Guardians, a Twins game with Joe Ryan pitching. And in that game, I couldn't understand why it was so expensive to take the first 5 over 4. And that alone got me off of unders. And thank God Joe Ryan allowed 6 home runs in that game. So I'd like to see if this has changed now as well, if this first 5 is moving alongside the full game. So here we have it juiced to the under in the 7.5. When I get to the first 5, it's still a minus 112 to the over 4. I can't quite explain that. I can't explain. If this is a 7.5 and juice to the under 7.5, the first 3 is so expensive, under 2.5. And you could say it was. I looked at it before the show started, and the first 3 was minus 145. Now it's minus 155. So you have to build a 2. I'm going to spend. God. Okay, well, let's get to the pitching now. Let's get to the pitching because I really wanted to believe in unders here. And I had some interest in Christian Scott first 5 plus a half if this was a low volatility spot. So let's roll Christian Scott, 3-1, 2.87 ERA, 1.22 whip, 4.12 expected ERA. He went on the IL after his start June 11th with a right hip impingement, and he did not go on a rehab assignment. He pitched a simulated game. He's looked very good since he's come back. 4 starts. He's not going deep in the games, but he has allowed 5 earned runs in those 4 starts, and he hasn't allowed a run in the last 2 starts. Going up against Logan Henderson, another great young pitcher, 2.97 ERA, 0.93 whip. He's got a 2.91 expected ERA, and he also went on the IL. He was shelved a late May with a back strain, and he was on that. Well, that back strain lasted a long time, May 22nd till July 9th. Those are his starts. So he's come back and thrown 2 starts. He looked better in the last one, and why wouldn't he shove today? Then we have the bullpen, Mets bullpen, 6.03 ERA, 1.57 whip. They've looked bad. Now, they've looked better over the last 5 games, but the bullpen has been a problem here. And then, the Brewers bullpen is just a model of consistency all season long. And then when we get to the sticks, the Brewers are hitting righties over the last 30 days, 259 with a 759 OPS, while the Mets versus righties, 238, 729 OPS. I want to believe in these 2 young pitchers. But I would like to, I know it sounds crazy because you want to pay as little vig as possible, but why was the first 5 under 4 so cheap? It's become a little less cheap, but why was it so cheap? Shout out to Toby Lane, Sparks Money Line. Toby Lane, we have the same action there. I love that you are on the Sparks with me, man. That's when Toby Lane and I roll together, we get paid in a full here. So let me just move back here to just under 9 legacies action. and get Toby Lane's action. He's back in Belgrade for the next 10 months. Shout out to our guy Toby Lane joining us from Belgrade. So here, I think that the unders can be moved on now. I think it's moving in a direction that appeals to me. I wouldn't mind seeing it continue to move to the under. But man, that does make me uncomfortable that the first 504 would be so expensive on the over. So I've got to figure out if it's worth double dipping. Okay, so then we know how good Logan Henderson's been. We know how good Christian Scott's been. So if there's low volatility, why would we not also want to move on the Mets first 5 plus a half? Let's go into the full line history here. We've seen the 2-cent move to the under, and then on the money line here, we have now a big move towards the Mets. Wow, this just happened from plus 133 to plus 118. We just had another 8-cent move towards the Mets 9 minutes ago. Wow. So let's see what Pinnacle has here. Pinnacle has the Mets plus 121 full game. First 5 plus 123, but the first 5 plus a half is getting more and more expensive. I want it. I think I add all of these now. I think I add the Mets first 5 plus a half, and I add the early unders. Ooh-wee. Okay, there we go. That is Mets Brew Crew here. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board is another double up for me, and it's me believing in Landon Roop. Landon Roop has put in a lot of innings so far this year, but I see him pitching at a very high level here, a very, very high level. So let's talk about the spot, Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. We'll start with the weather. It's not offensive, which we've seen a ton of offensive weather of late in Kansas City. Minus 2% runs, minus 2% homers, plus 2% doubles, triples, and minus 1% singles. Landon Roop, 3.98 ERA, 1.27 whip. He's got a 3.40 expected ERA. And he had a hiccup. It started at the beginning of June. Maybe it was that last start of May as well. But he had a hiccup. He got touched up in a few starts. But these last 2 starts have been very, very strong. It felt like he needed a little bit of a break over the All-Star break, and he had 11 days in between starts. And with those 11 days, he shut down and shut out the Mariners in Seattle over 7 innings. And we're going up against Seth Lugo, just my 2 cents in the house. What up, TC? And look at Top Set coming off a big day. He's on San Francisco first 5 in full game, as am I. Seth Lugo, 4.39 ERA, 1.41 whip. He's got a 5.52 expected ERA. Look, McGreevy, Lugo, there's certain pitchers that have this very ballooned expected ERA, but they just seem to get outs when they need them to. And there's a savviness about both of them. So I'm not sure how much stock to put in the fact that their expected ERA is so much higher than their ERA. Last time we saw Seth Lugo, he was excellent. It was at home over the Padres. So now he's back-to-back home starts. Would it be a shock, if he was to deliver here? Yes, I like that jersey list. Roop, Jump, Detmers, and Montero. I like it. I like that, Rod. I'm in it. I'm in it there. So we've had 2 good starts for Lugo. He didn't really get the break through the All-Star break because he pitched on Sunday. So he went on the 12th and he went on the 17th. Previous to that, though, those 2 starts that Lugo just had, he had 3 starts where he allowed 16 earned runs, 16 earned runs and 15 in the third with 25 hits, 7 home runs. I mean, he was getting touched up. I do fear he could get in the way of all of this, but I will battle him. When it comes to the bullpens, the Royals bullpen's absolute trash. 6.89 ERA, 1.69 whip. The Giants bullpen has a 5 ERA, a 1.28 whip. I expect them to improve, but they will be sellers at the deadline. And then when it comes to the sticks, the Giants and Royals are hitting righties in a very similar fashion right now. As you can see, the Giants bullpen has improved quite a bit of late, but they're both mediocre versus righties. Now, the Royals are hitting righties much harder of late. 244, 722 OPS over the last 30. Giants 241, 735 OPS. Let's get into the line history before we move on from this one. We've had 13 cents of movement towards the San Francisco Giants. That happened at 9 p.m. last night. So it went from minus 105. It's now minus 118. 13 cents of movement. And then when we get to the totals here, we have a move to the over. It's maybe it's a quarter of a run move. This was an over 8.5 at minus 120. Now it's an over 9 at plus 100. So it's minimal. When we get to the cash flow for this spot, we have 60% of the tickets, 60% of cash on the Giants, 54% of tickets on the over, 89% of cash on the over. And then price difference. Now, this was moving away from me, unfortunately, this morning. I'd be very interested to see if it's come back. It's come back a cent. So it's no, it hasn't. It's minus 114. Minus 114, full game. First 5, minus 121. Okay, that's a relief. That's a little better. Makes me a little more comfortable. So, when it comes down to it, in the most simple way of looking at this game, the Giants are 14 games under 500 on the road, and they are 17 games under 500 overall. Now, the Royals are 19 games under 500 overall, but they're just 2 games under 500 at home. And the Giants are a legitimate favorite here. And yes, there is a slight advantage with Roop over Lugo, maybe a bigger than slight. But I'm very comfortable with this price play. I'm very comfortable with all of it. Shout out to Oldie in the house. Double up spot for me on the San Francisco Giants first 5 in full game. Double up spot for our guy Top Set in the chat as well. We roll on. Next up, Nationals, Colorado Rockies. We're in Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. This is such an exciting game and fun game to cap. Plus 37% runs, plus 25% homers, plus 27% doubles and triples, and plus 21% singles. We have Cade Cavalli going up against Gabriel Hughes. Cade Cavalli has never pitched in Coors before, but he's pitching at a very high level right now. 3.78 ERA, 1.31 whips, got a 4.13 expected ERA. Last time we saw Cade Cavalli, the last couple times, he's looked very good. And that, it should probably help him. And we didn't talk about this on last night's show, that in his last start, he was pitching in Sacramento. So he was pitching in similar offensive conditions that we have here. And he pitched very well. 2 earned runs over 6 innings, struck out 9 and walked 0. Now you could say, look, the A's aren't hitting and the Rockies are, and that would be a valid argument. The start before that was at home versus the Yankees. He shuts them down, 2 earned runs over 6 innings, struck out 14 and walked 1 over his last 2 starts. He had a rough start at home versus the Pirates on July 5th, but other than that, it's 4 of his last 5 starts have been quality starts. Going up against Gabriel Hughes, first-round pick, 10th overall, the 22 draft out of Gonzaga. He's a pitcher that I really believe in. He's very good. 3.14 ERA, 1.12 whip, 2.74 expected ERA. Loved his last start at home versus the Reds. Now he has consecutive home starts to get comfortable. And he's a pitcher that I like. Wine Time Sports says Rockies money line once again. And Rod Zwacky on the other side says bet on Cade Cavalli on the money line versus an NL team with non-base percentage of .325 or worse in the second half of the season. Cavalli's team record since 25, 6-0. It says bet on Washington road games on the money line after a loss. Washington's record during the 2026 season, 15-6. When we get to the bullpens, the Rockies have a major advantage. 4.33 ERA, 1.41 whip over the last 30 days compared to the Nats bullpen that's just been horrific. 6.73 ERA, 1.73 whip. And then both teams are hitting righties very hard. You could say that the Nats is a more legitimate number, 273, 881 OPS over the last 30 days because they have not been hitting half the time at Coors Field, which the Rockies have, 264, 805 OPS. So I've moved on 2 bets here. It took me a while to get there and to have the confidence to back Cade Cavalli just because he's not pitched in Coors before. But we got past it. I'm comfortable and happy that I did. And then we have the Gabriel Hughes, who I am very comfortable with. I moved on the first 3 under 3.5 and the first 5 under 6. I got the first 3 under 3.5 at minus 120. I got the first 5 under 6 at minus 113. Let's get into the line history here. This 12 is now an 11.5, and it continues to move towards the under. 2 more cents this morning. So it opened up at 12 minus 120 to the under. Now it's 11.5 minus 117 to the under. And then on the money line here, we have a 15-cent move towards the Washington Nationals, a pretty legit one from minus 122 to minus 137. When we get to the cash flow here, we have 90% of the tickets and 95% of the cash on the Washington Nationals. It's a public spot, but at least the line is moving in that direction. And then 59% of the tickets on the over, 90% of the cash on the over here. Broadswag says Nats have won each of the last 7 road games following a road loss. Top set doing SGP, Nats full game, Rockies team total over. And I'm in business. I'm in business. I like my spot. I got that first three under 3.5 at minus 120. I thought it had moved 5 cents when I checked again this morning to minus 125. I was hoping that it would be at minus 135 when we got here this morning, but there's so much cash on the over in this baseball game. We get to the first three here. It's just minus 120. It's not moved. I thought it had moved 5 cents, so that makes me a little nervous. But here we go. Robert Franklin says, yeah, the under six, first five under six looks like the play. Always making moves, looking at the watch. There is Matty Ice in the house running so hot with the taint play of the day. We talked about it off the top. Can't wait to hear his plan of attack today. And we roll on, doubling down on unders. First three under 3.5, full game under 6 in the thin air of Colorado. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board for us. Man, I got action. I cannot wait. It's going to be a very, very fun day, but we needed to get off to a winning start. We don't want to be reaching. So let's roll. Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. This is a game I've not bet, and I wanted to. I couldn't understand why it was moving to the over. And you could say, well, look, Merrill Kelly's trash, and the Diamondbacks are hitting lefties very hard, and Gage Jump is shutting down opponents when teams are not hitting lefties. And it helps when Gage Jump isn't in Sutter Health Park. 3.78 ERA, 3.88 expected ERA, 1.32 whip for Gage Jump here. He looked very good in the Pacific Coast League. Every start got better and better until he was, arguably unhittable. He looked very good starting his MLB career. And then June 29th and July 5th, he got hit for 5 earned runs each at home. Bounced back at the White Sox, but the White Sox are hitting lefties, and then got touched up by a Nationals team at home who are hitting lefties. So I can understand trepidation here. Rabbit says A's win. And top set is on the A's first three here. Let's talk about Merrill Kelly. 5.20 ERA, 1.49 whips, got a 7.52 expected ERA. And I know that there's biases involved when we talk about Merrill Kelly, and he had a tough start to the year. He was out the first few weeks with a back injury. Look, he's been bad this year, and I'm not rushing to give you excuses as to why he's being so bad. But I can tell you that his last 3 starts have been strong. He's gone 17 innings. He's allowed 4 earned runs. He's allowed 15 hits. He struck out 15. He still walked 7. The A's are just not hitting righties. The Diamondbacks are hitting 270 with a 777 OPS versus lefties. And the bullpen, we know, is a huge advantage to Arizona. Arizona has a massive advantage over the A's. There's a couple spots here where there's massive advantages. Mally Mouse says, I think it's time for Kelly to win a game. He'll be on Arizona. So top set on the A's. Joel Torres also on the A's. Miss Smokes a lot on the A's as well. Let's get into this line history here for this spot. This is a game I've been staring at with a lot of interest. There's been a 12-cent move towards Arizona. This last move came 31 minutes ago, and it was a big move, 12 cents towards Arizona, minus 127. We'll see where the cash is, but it's not beyond the realm of possibilities for me that Merrill Kelly continues to pitch, better. I mean, I would look better is not right. Maybe could he start pitching good? He's had 3 good starts in a row. Could he make it 4? Total wise, this opened up at 9, minus 105 to the over. Then it moved 10 cents to the over, and then it just stopped moving. Robert Franklin looking at Diamondbacks first 5. I think that well, let's take a look at the price difference, Robert, to see if it's advantageous. But the Diamondbacks have such an advantage in the bullpen. I would kind of want personally to be full game. The Diamondbacks are minus 123 full game. First 5 minus 113. So the Athletics are plus 114 full game. First 5 they're minus 102. A 16-cent difference. Matty Ice says Kelly's outs needs to be looked at hard. Let's take a look at the cash flow. That's a big difference. So, look, the books are respecting Gage Jump first 5, despite the ability for the Diamondbacks to hit lefties. Let's take a look here at the prices. So, we have 67% of the tickets on Arizona, 92% of the cash on the Athletics. Wow. That's a surprise. 70% of tickets on the over, 87% of cash on the over. Remo says, like the under here. I'm with you, Rem. Stimmy OG ready to get to work. Yes, we will discuss those spots for sure. Top Set says they fought back last night. I expect them to be pissed. Can only back them first three and always making moves. Looking at that Arizona money line. Well. Do I get any closer to the moving to the window and betting this? That price difference is appealing for the A's first five. It's nice to get Gage jump out of Sutter Health Park. And then the under still appeals here. Let's just take a look at what this first three is, and then we can just, move on. I don't want to be sitting here hemming and hawing too much, but when we get to the total, it's a 9. It's minus 105 to the under, minus 115 to the over, which means that the under 2.5, should be plus money. It should be like at least a plus 100 or plus 105 at Bet365. So let's see what it is here. The first three is minus 105. Huh. Wow. And then let's take a look at what the first five is here for this spot. And I'm going to look over at the penny. The first five under five is minus 118. It's juiced. I like both of those spots. Troy Torrance, no worries, man. Keep up the great work on the closing line, my friend. A Top Set says, what is my first three here? My first three is the A's minus 105 and the Diamondbacks minus 135. That's at 365. And then first five, the A's are minus 110. The Diamondbacks minus 120. So they're respecting the Diamondbacks first three. Huh. Well. I'm hesitant to fade Merrill Kelly against the A's team that can't hit. I think this line moving towards, but am I going to sit here and trust Merrill Kelly? I mean, I think I can still get to unders here, but it would be of the first three and first five variety. All right. This is the morning show is where we just hammer the moves. We think everything out on the late show when we have the benefit of more time. Let's roll. Matty Guy says, watch this game last night. The Diamondbacks announcers were talking about how taxed this Diamondbacks bullpen is and how much Kelly will be leaned on tomorrow. So I expect Kelly to be pushed and his outs over should be a look, but he's not bet it, to be clear. All right. I think that we move on unders early. First three and first five. That is my plan. Let's roll on. The next spot on the board here, 3:40 p.m. Eastern. We have Cincinnati Reds at the Seattle Mariners. Reds, Mariners here. And okay, here, sorry. Okay, so let's go. Reds, Mariners, T-Mobile, and Seattle, Washington. T-Mobile minus 4% runs, plus 12% homers, minus 14% doubles and triples, minus 7% singles. It's hot. Going to be hot in Seattle today. And shout out 4624 Live says, I think the Sox sweep and keep the magic rolling. I don't know about sweep, but let's just win the next game. Let's win the next game ahead of us. Let's get Jake Bennett to get us paid. So we have Brady Singer pitching at a very high level, the best he's pitched in a couple years, going up against Emerson Hancock. Now, it's very important for you guys to know that Ron Crawford came in the chat last night, and the shotgun play of the day is the Seattle Mariners. Our guy Ronnie Crawford recovering from eye surgery right now at home. We love him dearly. Shout out to Ron Crawford. Shotgun play of the day is the Seattle Mariners. Shotgun play of the day is in. She smokes a lot also on Seattle. So for me here, I can't and I won't get past the fact that Brady Singer is pitching at a high level right now. He was a pitcher that I believed in as a Kansas City Royal, and when the Royals gave up on him, I had some respect for them giving up on him. He looked bad. Well, he didn't look bad last year. He came on, the season went on, 4.03 ERA, 1.24 whip. This year, he's looked terrible, and he looked so bad that the Reds skipped him in the rotation. That was after his start on May 17th. In the starts May 12th and May 17th combined, he allowed 6 home runs, and he had allowed 11 home runs over his last 5 starts. What we've seen when these pitchers get the mental reset is they don't have a great start coming back, but they start building, and that's what he did, building and building and building. These last 2 starts have been spectacular. Last start in the thin air, Colorado, he went 7 innings. He allowed 2 earned runs, didn't walk a batter. The start before that on July 9th, he went 7 and a third and allowed 1 earned run. He is rolling right now. Topset says that he doesn't like Singer's splits. They're going to be bad, and we'll go into them now, but they're going to be bad because he was a terrible pitcher for a lot of this year, so bad that they had to skip him in the rotation. So, they're going to be bad, and we'll go over them here. But if you look at what he's done the last couple of starts, the splits are to be trusted. Lefties hit him pretty hard. There's no denying that. 295, 878 OPS. So in this spot against the Mariners, do we feel that they have the lefties that can get to them? And there's a lot of them. There's only going to be 2 righties in the lineup. Crawford, then Raleigh, Canzoni, Naylor, Raley, Young, and Emerson are the lefties. But he's been getting lefties out of recent. So, they're going to be ugly splits when you have a pitcher with with poor numbers. I mean, the splits are going to be ugly. I believe in what we've seen from Singer, excuse me. Singer has allowed more than 1 earned run 3 times. 3 times in his last 8 starts. Excuse me. Yeah, 3 times. And those 3 times, twice he allowed 2 earned runs, and once he allowed 5 earned runs. He has allowed just 1 earned run or 1 or none, let's say that, in 4 of his last 7 starts. He's just pitching much better. Shout out to BT in the house. Jared Jackson has his action in, and Rod Zweig says bet over the total in Cincinnati road games and day games over his record during 2026 season, 16-5. Let me just copy and paste Jared Jackson's action here. And we're rolling on. So I did not understand why it was moving to the over. Now, we received angles from Rod Zweig last night as to why it was moving to the over. We have Emerson Hancock on the other side, 3.17 ERA, 1.01 whips, got a 4.33 expected ERA. Hancock's been very good. Now, he had a very short start on July 12th. He took 107.2 mile per hour comeback off his right pitching hand. In the first inning, his right middle finger was swollen, and he pitched a couple outs in the second inning, and then the swelling got to him. He couldn't pitch anymore. X-rays were taken, and they were negative. When you get to the bullpens, Mariners bullpen, 3.74 ERA, 1.15 whip has been very good. Reds bullpen, 4.55 ERA, 1.34 whip. And when it gets to the sticks, the Mariners just aren't hitting. They're not hitting. 212, 625 OPS. Reds versus righties, 221, 677 OPS. It's held these guys back, the Mariners, all season long. I moved on the Reds first 5 plus a half, and I did it with confidence. I got the first 5 plus a half at minus 110, and I like the spot. Let's get into the line history here for it here, and it's the only move that I've made in this game is the Reds first 5 plus a half. This opened up at a 7.5 minus 115 to the under. It's now an 8. Now this 8 is a pick'em at Bet Online and a bunch of books, but it Bookmaker and at Heritage, it's juiced to the over, and it's heavily juiced to the over at Bookmaker. So that's a pretty high total for a Mariners game, but we do know that it's pretty hot. Then line history-wise, we've had 9 cents of movement towards Brady Singer. The movement's gone from +1. Oh, wow, now 14 cents of movement. We just had more movements 2 minutes ago. So it's a 14-cent move now to the Cincinnati Reds. Let's take a look at the price difference, first 5 and full game. Here we go. So right now, the Reds are +137 full game, and they're +130 first 5. So it's not a huge difference here. Topset said he wishes he could talk me off of that. And, when you say that, you are generally right. And we'll see if you will be right again. But Brady Singer has been getting me paid. And I think he continues to get me paid. The offense, they're not delivering a lot of offense for him. In 3 of his last 5 starts, they've been shut out twice and scored 1 run in the other. But I'm quite comfortable with it. I think it's a great bet, personally, and I will deal with the consequences, whether they are positive or negative. Let's roll on. 4:07 p.m. Eastern. Next spot on the board, St. Louis Cardinals at the Los Angeles Angels. We're in Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. Let's get right to the weather. As we know, it's been much more offensive weather in Anaheim of late. We have a plus 7% runs, plus 15% homers, minus 1% doubles and triples, and plus 3% singles here. We have Hunter Dobbins, 1-1, 4.03 ERA, 1.39 WHIP. He went back and made a start in Memphis. It didn't go very well, his last start. That was after the July 7th start at home versus the Brewers. He went and made a start. So he's had 13 starts in AAA Memphis, 4.16 ERA, 1.40 WHIP. In the show, he's been good, 4.03 ERA, 1.39 WHIP. Last time we saw him, he allowed 3 earned runs over 5 innings at home versus the Brewers. We had thought it was going to be McGreevy, and it is Hunter Dobbins. And he's going up against Reed Detmers. Reed Detmers has just been making us money in home starts. The Angels got his paid first 5 in full game yesterday, backing Walbert Urena. It's pretty simple. You know, it's funny. The Angels have some pieces, some really nice pieces. And Detmers has been delivering for us. Now, was he dealing with some arm fatigue before the All-Star break? You know, I hope that's the excuse that we give him. He had 8 days off in between starts, July 9th and July 17th, but he allowed 10 earned runs in the 2 starts coming into the All-Star break. He didn't look good. One of them was at home where he had been delivering, but he's had some spectacular home starts here. And the starts where he got lit up at home were, you know, much earlier in the year, back May 19th, about 8 earned runs or 5 2/3 at home. You know, April 20th, 4 earned runs at home versus the Jays. April 8th, 5 earned runs at home versus the Braves. But he's been delivering, and last start was a thing of beauty. It was a 2-1 loss at home versus the Tigers. 6 innings, didn't allow a run, didn't walk a batter, struck out 7. She's just been pitching at a very high level. We have just my 2 cents on the Cardinals, which makes me nervous. Let's get just my 2 cents' action here. Get it lined up here. I'll pop it right under Jared Jackson's action. Shout out to the Pub Sports MMA community. But I am comfortable here backing Reed Detmers, who is shoving and challenging the Cardinals versus lefties. Let's talk about the bullpen, though. Angels' bullpen has been better than the Cardinals' bullpen for a while. The Angels' bullpen looked so bad at the beginning of the year, and now they look very good. 3.74 ERA, 1.11 WHIP. Cardinals' bullpen, these are always last 30-day stats that I give out. 4.17 ERA, 1.34 WHIP for the Cardinals. And the Cardinals have lost the power against lefties. 242, 710 OPS over the last 30 days. Angels do not hit righties, so 233, 635, it's been a problem. And Wine Time Sports is on the Angels full game. And Top Set looking at the first 3 under, and Robert Franklin's back on the Angels' first 5. So let's get into the line history here. I doubled up on the Angels. Let's see exactly what I got. I got the Angels full game at minus 115, and I got them first 5 at minus 123. I could have gotten them at minus 125 if I didn't want to be liquid, but I just dealt with it. So, and these were spots I had moved on the Angels before our night show last night. My 3 bets that I had going into our nightly bag was the Angels, Dodgers, and Tigers. So let's get into the line history here for this spot. This is such a fun card. So, look, the only book that doesn't have the Angels, oh no, they've moved it too. Wow. It was going to be Bet Online. So Bet Online just moved it 12 cents 7 minutes ago towards the Angels. So look at this market. I mean, I can understand if you think the Angels are too expensive now or what have you, but this line has moved 38 cents towards the Angels, and they've gone from dog to favorite. I would like to look at the teams so far in Major League Baseball that have gone from dog to favorite and had a 30-cent plus move. I imagine their ROI is extremely strong. I mean, those are just 2 huge market. They're just tipping their hand here. That's just 38 cents of movement. Good God. I mean, you know, I see TC cashing these plus money spots often, but I guess this is the most confident spot for me right now. We'll see if that changes. This total opened up in an 8.5 at the pick 'em, and it moved to the 9. Now we're back at an 8.5. Back at 8.5 here. Tactic Cliff going to double up here on the Angels. LALV is also on the Cards money line here. And we have a favorite player prop here from Matty Ice, and it is Ben Rice over 1.5. Sorry, hits, runs, and RBIs in game 1 for Matty Ice. So let me just pop that here. Under the TC's bet on the Cardinals, please put your best bets in the chat so we can discuss them at the end of the show. And look, I don't like going back to the well. You guys know that. I really don't like going back to the well. But I have conviction here with Reed Detmers and how much money he's been making me. And I'm moving on it again. Taint play of the day is in. We are going to talk about it at the end of the show. It's one of the late games, but I'm on it. Finally, I've got the same bet as Taint. It's a relief, man. Taint is in. Taint's on a massive winning streak as well. All right, let's roll on here. Let's roll on. The next spot on the board for us. Oh, sorry, just passed it. Is the Dodgers game. All right, let's roll. Dodgers 63-38, 32-19 on the road. I guess that's now 33-19. Philadelphia 56-46, 27-24 at home. And we have Lauer versus Nola here. Lauer versus Nola. A Lauer 4-5, 4.81 ERA, 1.26 whip, 4.97 expected ERA. And he's been so good as a Dodger. Those numbers are inflated because he had a really rough start with the Blue Jays, and they should have stuck by him. But they did not. And I said at the time they drew the consequences, and they have. Look at these quality start after quality start for Eric Lauer. He would have 5 straight quality starts. The only starts that haven't, are not considered quality starts. He went 4 2/3, allowed 2 runs at Arizona on June 2nd. On June 9th, he went 5 2/3, allowed 2 runs at the Pirates. We know what the Pirates are doing with their sticks. Other than that, it's quality start after quality start after quality start. His last start was at home versus the Rockies, 3 runs over 6 innings. The start before that, 3 runs over 6 innings, then 9-4 win at the Athletics. Start before that, no runs over 6 innings at the Twins. They're pitching well. Mally Mal says Dodgers minus 110 versus Aaron Nola. Well, if you look at the statistical profile of these two pitchers, you would say that Nola has had a better season. Now Nola has a 5.68 ERA, 1.45 whip, but he's been very unlucky. He's got a 4.20 expected ERA. He has allowed 23 home runs, but the Phillies are at home. The Phillies are at home. I don't think this is a shock here, but I can understand why it might be considered a shock. The way I see this is that Nola's pitching better. He would be on 2 of his last 3 starts as quality starts, but he did walk 4 batters in his last start. But he's pitching better. And Witt Jr. placed on the IL a few minutes ago, says Sharpie. Wine Time says, give me the Phillies here. So let's talk about the bullpens. 5.78 ERA, 1.53 whip for the Phillies. For the Dodgers, 4.01 ERA, 1.35 whip. And then when we get to the sticks, Dodgers versus righties are not hitting. They're just not hitting very hard. And the Phillies are also not hitting with power versus lefties, which is strange. Both these teams have so much power, but they aren't showing it over the last little while. So I only have the Dodgers full game. This was not a double down sentiment here. Let's take a look at this line history. This 10 at the pick'em is now 9.5 juice to the under. I thought the 10 was a very high total here that was opening up their arms to under cash. Now you could say it's predicated on the weakness of the starting pitching. If all the money's on the over, I will. But we just keep seeing under after under. In this road trip for the Dodgers. So I'm hesitant to move on the total. We've had a 13-cent move towards the Dodgers. They are now minus 118. Minus 118. Is this a trappy spot? And that is sort of what's being intimated by the cappers in the chat, that why would they give the Dodgers at this price? And I moved on them at minus 115. So and there was better numbers available at times. It had moved by the time I got to it. This was a minus 105 opener, and it lasted there for about 6 hours. Let's take a look at the cash flow and the price difference. First 5 and full game here. The Here we go. So the Dodgers full game are minus 116 at Penny. First five are minus 120, so it's not a big difference. Tops it on the Dodgers team total over here. And then from a cash flow situation, I'm very interested in what this is going to tell us. We have 82% of the tickets and 93% of cash on the Dodgers. 51% of tickets on the under, 92% cash on the under. Look, I get it. I get why this could be interpreted as a trappy spot. And it does make me a little nervous. But Dodgers minus 115 for me. Dodgers minus 115 for me. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board. Twinkies Guardians, Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. This is the game that I've wanted to move on for some time. And I wanted to move on it last night, but it was juiced to the over, and I thought it was a pretty low total, and maybe it was predicated on the weather. And then I looked at it, and I had it queued up this morning. And I was like, I'm just going to talk this out. But I want the first three under, and I want the full game under 8 here in Twinkies Guardians. Let's get into the weather at Progressive Field. And it's a little less run suppressing than it was last night, which is interesting. It was minus 11% runs last night. Now it's minus 8% runs. In fact, Wrigley Field has become much more run suppressing than it was last night. Minus 8% runs, minus 2% homers, minus 9% doubles and triples, and minus 7% singles. Those of you who keep the ballpark pal up constantly, which I do, you should refresh it. Remember to refresh it often. We have Bailey Ober here. He was sidelined since May 30th with the right flexor strain. He's looked quite good since coming off the IL. He's had 2 starts. Thursday, July 9th, 5 innings, 1 earned run in a 5-2 loss at home versus these Guardians. And Slade Ciccone's last start was versus these Twins. So Ober had to start in between on Friday, July 17th, 5 1/3, 2 earned runs, and a 5-2 win at the Cubs. Slade Ciccone, 4.55 ERA, 1.41 whips, got a 4.58 expected ERA. I thought that he had figured it all out and he was going to be a top-level pitcher. I have believed in him since his Diamondback days, and the Guardians give up a lot for him. And then he's not looked that good these last couple starts. He allowed 5 earned runs over 5 innings at home versus the White Sox, and 3 earned runs over just 3 2/3 at the Twins. That was back on July 8th. Then they just sat him down. Give him a break. Give the arm a break. He has not pitched since. So as you can see by the graphics, 14 days rest for Slade Ciccone. When we get to the bullpens, the Guardians bullpen is back in form. 3.64 ERA, 1.32 whip over the last 30 days. The Twins bullpen at a 4.46 ERA, 1.46 whip is the best it's been all year long. I know the numbers are very mediocre, very pedestrian, but better than they've been. And when it comes to the sticks, both teams are hitting righties hard. The Guardians 268, 756 OPS, and the Twins 265, 767 OPS. And Dougie Wise, free bands play of the day is in. Thank you, Dougie. We will be discussing it here with all of the plays of the day from our cappers in the chat. And thank you so much for sharing it. So let's get into the line history here. I remain very interested in these unders. So let's take a look at what we are dealing with now. Here we go. So the Guardians are sitting here at minus 121. So 3 cents of movement towards the Guardians, very minimal. It's the total that I'm most interested in. From a total standpoint here, we've had no movement. Sitting here at minus 115. Now, it had moved towards the over. When we did our show last night, there was a 2-cent move towards the over. At 3 in the morning, another 3 cents of movement. So overall, there's just 5 cents of movement, and then it came back. Let's take a look at the price difference as well here. And Topset says over splits on the road and in day games are trash. Yeah, he's been bad on the road, but that was a long time off. That was a long time off for him, and he seems like he has regrouped. I don't mind, and also the for me personally, when I would focus on the day numbers, it never helped me. So I have stopped. But we're talking about 30 innings and 6 starts on the road. And I don't know if that's a sample size that I really need to be that nervous about. I could understand not believing in him. Ober's cost me a lot of money over the years, so I can understand that. The Twins are plus 116 full game. First 5, they're plus 108. It's not that big of a difference. Guardians are minus 126 full game, minus 124 first 5. Mally Mal calls him Bailey over. Well, that does work here. Let's get into the cash flow for this spot. We have 70% of the tickets on the Guardians, 82% of the cash on the Twins, 76% of the tickets, and 90% of the cash on the over. Look, that's a lot. That's a lot. All that money on the over. Circus still got a juice towards the under. A top set like in Cleveland, first 3 and first 5. Well, I want these unders. Nothing is changing. And I think I just man up and bet them. And that's what I plan to do. But let's take a look at what this first 3 under is quickly, and then we'll move on. Here we go. So let's just look at what the full game is right now. Here, it's an 8, minus 115 to the under. So this should be juiced towards the under, and it should be minus 125 at a minimum. So let's see what it is here. The first 3 is just to pick them at minus 120 each way. It's a little uncomforting. And Sharpie says this is the same spot as Houston, Miami the other day. All the money on the over, and the game goes under. A Godfather leaning the Twins first 5 plus a half says with over is a safe bet. Okay, I'm going to move on these unders. It's just playoff type baseball right now. And Rod Zwacky gave us trends last night on these AL Central Division unders. Mally Mal's first 3s. Anytime that you start cutting down, it's just there's more and more vig. So first 5, there's more vig. First 3, there's the most vig. And first inning, most vig. It's just, remember that we thought that was the reason why the first 3 unders would hurt me. And we were very successful with them last year. So just got to be picky. All right, so let's roll on here. Yes, and that you'll find most first 3s with 40 cents of vig. It sucks. Makes it very difficult. You now you have to hit at 56%. Makes it difficult. But it didn't stop. Remember, we thought that was going to be the problem. But let's roll on. Next spot on the board, Tampa Bay Rays at the Toronto Blue Jays. We're at the Rogers Center in Toronto, Ontario. We have Griffin Jacks on the hill. Rays pilfered him off of the Twins for nothing. God, he's been really good. He's coming off a terrible start, though, at the Red Sox. He had 7 earned runs over 5 innings. His velocity's up at 98, 99. Eye test, he looks really, really strong here. And WY says the only thing that's keeping me off the Rays is the market. And nothing's keeping me off the Rays. It's a fishy line, mind you, but the Jays are done. And I know a lot of people don't, want to bet into sweeps and things of that nature, but to me, the Jays are done. So Braden Fisher we expect to be opening for Spencer Miles. We talked about Braden Fisher. His dad died when he was with him on the road in San Francisco about 4 weeks ago. And he's handled it well. He just wants to be with the guys, just wants to go back to his daily routine. He's shown a lot of strength, but it's a difficult thing to deal with. And then I've told you guys, I think Spencer Miles is a fade. And it's such a great thing to fade him because he's got pretty good numbers. I wasn't backing Anthony Kay on Friday. I was only fading Spencer Miles. And I thought Anthony Kay could pitch okay because the Jays don't hit lefties. I think Spencer Miles is a problem. I think that the teams all have tape on him now. The Braden Fisher and Spencer Miles combination is not that strong. And put a fork in the Jays. They're done. They're going to go into sell mode here any minute. They don't hit righties. Their bullpen's pitching average, 3.65 ERA, 1.20 whip. The Rays bullpen has been excellent. 3.08 ERA, 0.92 whip. Elio says Books have been off with Tampa all year. He is on the Rays. And GeoBed says, I don't see the total of money. What was the open line total in this game? Yeah, let's do it, my man. Let's do it. So let's get into but when it comes to the sticks, the Rays are raking righties. The Jays aren't. So let's get right into this. Let's get right into the line history for this spot. Here we go. We have a total at 8. It opened up at 8.5. It's an 8 at the pick'em. So we have a half run, a legit half run move towards the under. When it gets to the money line here, we have 3 cents of movement towards the Jays. They opened up minus 105, went to minus 110. Now they're minus 108. When we get to the price difference, first 5 and full game here. And we have, here we go. We have the Jays minus 106 at Pinnacle. First 5 minus 104. And then when we get to the cash flow for this AL East battle, we have 78% of the tickets and 92% of cash on the Rays, 65% of tickets and 93% of cash on the over. And if we think this is going to be fishy or anything of that nature, there are certain spots where I really don't care about the market. I really don't care, and it's when a team's on a 14-game winning streak like the Red Sox, or when I think a team is done. And the Rays would like nothing more to put their foot on the throat of the Toronto Blue Jays and step down. And that's what I expect them to do here. Now we have an angle to back the Jays. Says bet on John Schneider on the money line off a loss by 10 runs or more to a division rival. Schneider's record is manager of Toronto 8-0, and the 10-star play of the day for Rod Zwacky is the Toronto Blue Jays. Wine time is on the other side with the Rays, and that's a feather in our cap to have Wine time on the Rays, and it's dangerous going up against Rod Zwacky, and I will get Rod Zwacky's action here with the right under Dougie Wise free bands. But Wine time is a guy who really wants the market to correlate. This market does not correlate. This line is moving towards the Jays. The public is on the Rays. But the Jays are donezo, man. Say goodnight to the Toronto Blue Jays. Rod Zwacky says Jays 5-1 and Fisher starts. Yes. But if we want to talk about Braden Fisher since the unfortunate death of his father, he's not pitching that well. He was great to start the year. He is allowed a run in 3 of his last 4 starts. So he's allowed 3 earned runs over his last 3 1/3. Now, again, you were talking about his starts, but the Jays have lost 5 straight games that Fisher's pitched in. They've lost 7 of the last 8 that he has pitched in. The days are over when this Fisher-Miles combination was working, in my estimation. But Gio Bed says, I see everybody on the Rays going to fade the public and ride with Rod. He's a good capper to ride with. I get it, Gio Bed. Good luck to both of you fellas. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board for us is Padres Braves. I love this game. We're at Truist Park in Hotlanta, Georgia. I've moved on side and total in this one. I really, really like it. And it took me a long time to get there. And then when I got there, I was very pleasantly surprised. It was the first thing I looked at this morning. First thing I woke up, I was like, well, what's the total for 3 in Padres Braves? And I was very pleased to see. And this was the game I sat for almost 45 minutes deciding whether to pull the trigger on last night after the late show. I am on the San Diego Padres, and I'm on the first 3 under. I got the first 3 under at plus money, too. It's now juiced. Well, we'll see what it is now. It was minus 115 when I looked this morning. I got it at plus 105. But let's rock here. We start with Truist Park. And we start with the Truist Park weather in Hotlanta. It is plus 2% runs, plus 6% homers, plus 1% doubles and triples, and minus 1% singles. The TJ play of the day special is Cincinnati. I am respect TJ, my man. I'm on them first 5 plus a half. But you're not on the TJ special is Cincinnati first 5 plus a half, though. Remember that. The TJ special is first 5s plus a half. Let me get this. Where the hell is it? Sorry, I got to make sure that we have a TJ's action to talk about. Right under Rod Zawacki's action here. And let's roll into my plan of attack here. So first off, we have Martin Perez coming off of the IL, and we have our guy, Michael King, pitching better. These are 2 pitchers that both deal with arm fatigue. It felt like Michael King was dealing with arm fatigue when he allowed 13 earned runs over 3 starts between May 24th and June 5th. Since then, he's looked much better. His last 2 starts were very strong. His last start at the Royals, 1 earned run over 5 innings. Start before that, 1 earned run over 6 innings at home versus the Diamondbacks. Start before that, 2 earned runs over 6 innings at the Dodgers. So 3 straight strong starts, and he got 9 days off in between starts between July 8th and July 17th. He's just a pro, and I believe in him. Let's talk about Martin Perez. he has started 14 games and he doesn't go deep in the game. So he only has 2 quality starts, but he's a pitcher that gets soft contact. And he's tough to watch because he doesn't get strikeouts when you need him to. He's got an 18.6% strikeout rate, just a 22% whiff rate. I mean, the guy doesn't have swing and miss stuff, but he gets ground balls 47.7% of the time. Those ground balls that he generates gets him double plays and gets him out of jams. He gets a lot of soft contact. Now, he was dealing with an arm issue. It's a left forearm contusion, and he hadn't been pitching well in the 3 starts leading up to being put on the shelf. But as I said, this is a pitcher who deals with arm fatigue, and I think it was good for him to get a break. Bullpen-wise here, we have the Braves bullpen, 3.65 ERA, 1.17 whip over the last 30 days. The Padres bullpen's been a real problem, 5.35 ERA, 1.44 whip. Now, it's not a problem when Mason Miller gets out there throwing 102. When we get to the sticks, the Braves are hitting righties pretty hard, 259, 779 OPS, and the Padres are raking lefties. And that almost made me stop and not bet this, how hard they're hitting lefties, 291, 825 OPS. Sharpie saying that he likes this game under, says both teams have their dogs available here. Dogs available in the pen, says Noli special with these 2 starters. I moved here on the Padres because Machado is no longer the hitting under the Mendoza line. He's on fire. 3 home runs over his last 2 games. He had home runs in back-to-back innings last start. They're hitting lefties, but I still think that Martin Perez can get soft contact. I still think he's capable of slowing down Machado, or at least he knows Machado is a problem to pitch around Machado. So I moved on the full game Padres. Then I moved on the first 3 under, and this one was tricky because I could have got a very expensive 3. It was plus 105 to the under, 2.5, and then it was minus 190 to the under, 3.5. So I could have got a 3 at like minus 141 or minus 142. But again, let's either win or lose. So I took the first 3 under 2.5 at plus 105 for a score. Let's get into the line history here. We'll talk about the price difference, and then we'll move on. So line history here for this spot. We have a move towards the Padres. Not a huge move, but a move. They've gone from plus 104 to minus 102. They were at minus 104, so it's buyback of 2 cents. But we still have 6 cents of movement towards the Padres. When we get to the total for this one, we have this total at 8.5. We've had 5 cents of movement towards the under. This one opened up minus 125 to the over 8.5. Now it's minus 120 to the over 8.5. We take a look at the price difference. Let's take a look at the price difference here. And for show 94 in the house. What up, man? OG Lowbagger in the house. When we take a look at the price difference for this one, Padres are plus 102 here at Pinnacle full game. First 5 minus 106, 8 cents. Maybe you'd want more. And then let's talk about this first 3. I was so pleased to see that I didn't need the market to tell me to bet this under. Now, I needed to cash, obviously. But I got this first 3 under at plus 105. I looked this morning and it was minus 115. Oh, no, it's moved back. Damn it. Damn. It's plus 100 now to the under. Oh, God, it takes the wind out of my sails. Damn. That is not as attractive. Mal says, I feel like the Padres plus a half first 3 correlate to that under. That plus a half first 3 would be extremely expensive. The first 3 plus a half minus 180. That's expensive. But I'm in business. Not as much business as I thought. But I got the Padres at plus 103. I got the first 3 under 2.5 at plus 105. And we roll on. Next spot on the board for us is Tigers Cubbies. Now, this one was fascinating. I moved on the Tigers last night at plus 100. Lines moved slightly away from me, but it was a spot I was really comfortable in. I'm a big believer and fan of Kiter Montero. We'll go over all of that. But I couldn't understand the market. They're really respecting Colin Ray here. We'll go over all of that. Let's get into the weather first. It's now more run suppressing than it was even last night. It's now minus 17% runs. Remember, last night it was minus 11. Minus 17% runs, minus 24% home runs, minus 17% doubles and triples, and even for singles. Then we have Kiter Montero on the hill. And, he was pitching in the bullpen for a month. His last start was Friday, June 26th. But he had been in the pen for a long time. He entered the rotation in early April, and he was pitching very, very well. Then he was put in the bullpen in late June because Tariq Skubal, Casey Mize, and Jack Flaherty all came back. And look what he did in the bullpen. Now, overall, he's got a 3.22 ERA, a 0.98 whip. He's got a 3.47 expected ERA. He's been very good. But when we get to what he did in that role, not complaining, just going, he in those relief spots, 2.08 ERA, 0.85 whip, he looked great. Now, they're going to go for a 6-man rotation as they got 13 games for 13 days. So he's going to have this start and at least another start. And I like him. Then we have Colin Ray, 7-6, 4.74 ERA, 1.42 whips, got a 5.44 expected ERA. And look at his splits. I mean, his home numbers are just so much stronger than his road record. And he really seems to deliver in run-suppressing conditions. He really seems to flourish with them. And he's been much better since June 20th. So we've had 5 straight starts where he's been much, much better. But he's the questionable entity here. The idea that it's moved towards Ray first 5 was shocking. So let's get into the line with the bullpens. The Cubs bullpen's been a problem the last 30 days and for most of the season. 4.85 ERA, 1.49 whip. Tigers bullpen 3.28 ERA, 1.19 whip. We do have a bullpen advantage. And then with the sticks, the Cubs are hitting righties hard, 246, 778 over the last 30 days, while the Tigers versus righties are just 231, 734 OPS. And Sharpie says, Flaherty just went to the IL. They'll need this kid to be the 5th starter now. I like him. I want him to start. I want him to pitch well here, and I want him to be getting us paid. And I think that's well within the realm of possibilities. So we have a move to the over. It's a 10-cent move to the over. This line came out at 2:09 p.m. yesterday, and it was plus 105 to the over. There was a 10-cent move to minus 105, and then nothing, and then no movement. Even though the weather's become more run suppressing, it's been very interesting. And then on the money line, we've had a 9-cent move towards Kaiser Montero, but there had been a much bigger move. In that 20 minutes that this line was available, there was an 18-cent move towards the Tigers. Now it's come back a bit. There's still been 9 cents of movement. The plus 107 is much more appealing than the plus 100 that I got. Then let's take a look at the price difference here. And so this price difference actually grew, and I was astonished. This has been throwing me for a loop, nonstop. So the Cubs are minus 119 full game. First 5 minus 128. Makes me nervous. It also tells me that Ray's going to pitch well here. So we've talked about these first 3 unders and what lines we're expecting. Let's do that here. Because if Ray's going to pitch well, and I think Montero's going to pitch well, so this 8, it's an 8 at minus 115 to the under. So the first 3 should be at a minimum minus 125 to the under. So let's see what this first 3 under is here. And it's minus 125 to the under. Exactly where it should be. Not moving in any which way. Mr. Heat says, I like the Tigers here, but the Cubs offense can be scary at home. Well, I think that's negated, don't you, Mr. Heat, with the run-suppressing weather. I said first 3 under last night that I was just going to wait because the total was climbing, and then it just stopped climbing. I think that we don't have time. We have 37 minutes here before the daily sesh. Let me just take a look at this. Is any books moving this towards the under? Heritage has this minus 122 to the over. We've had 6 cents of movement towards the under 8.5 at Bookmaker. God, I wonder if I could get to this first 3 under. I'm interested. I think I can get there. I mean, the books are telling us that Ray's going to pitch well, and I believe in Montero. I mean, shouldn't we just put that together and bet the first 3 under? I think so. I think we should, and I will. Let's roll on. 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Chicago White Sox, Texas Rangers, Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. The roof will be closed. It's hot in Texas right now. Shout out to Ken Mizrahi in the house. Good question, Ken. We are going to all party live at Woodbine on August 22nd together. Drink heavily and bet horses in person. But horse shows, we need one. So I'll figure that out for you, my man. Anthony K, 6-4, 4.24 ERA, 1.37 whip, got a 5.33 expected ERA. Look, we talked about it last night. The majors is tough, man. He's not pitching for Yokohama. He's pitching for the White Sox, and it's the middle of the summer. And he's having trouble. Last start, he made it through just 4 innings. 12-4 win at the Blue Jays. So I made it through 4 innings against the Jays team that can't hit lefties. What happens when you face a team that can hit lefties? Well, you're facing one today in the Texas Rangers, who just destroyed a lefty yesterday. And I should have been on the Rangers with you guys. That market messed with me. Markets can mess with you. I do think that saves me cash, but they messed with me in 2 spots. They got me on the Mariners, and then they got me off of the Rangers. I didn't move to the other side. But I don't think Anthony Kay is elite. I think it's clear that he's just a mediocre pitcher, and I think he gets hurt here. Now we have Port Dope's Cal Quantrill, and this guy made me look like an absolute ass clown on Friday. Now we had a winning day on Friday, but he sure made me look stupid. He'd been pitching so well, then he allowed 6 earned runs over 4 innings. We have Tyler Alexander, the opener, and then Cal Quantrill coming in as the primary. And I think Quantrill bounces back, and I think there's an advantage with Tyler Alexander to Cal Quantrill. And Tyler Alexander really helps because the White Sox aren't hitting lefties right now, and they're raking against righties, and the Rangers are destroying lefties. And the Rangers' bullpen is a huge problem. 6.46 ERA, 1.54 whip over the last 30 days. The White Sox bullpen's been very, very strong. But we get to the sticks, and I have an advantage with the Rangers versus lefties. Godfather in the house, 104 Fahrenheit. That's tough, man. Texas, hot in Texas. So let's take a look at the line history here. We have a 2-cent move to the under. Under 8.5 minus 110, under 8.5 minus 112. We get to the money line here for this one. We have 5 cents of movement towards the Chicago White Sox from even to minus 105. I did, Johnny, and it blew up in my face with Nathan Rourke's injury. So it looks bad. I just have the Lions at plus 750. You could have got them at plus 1,400 when the week started. We have Justin McKelvey on the over 8.5 at minus 113. McKelvey on the over 8.5 here. So I moved on the Rangers first 5. And I got the Rangers first 5, staying away from their bullpen. I got the Rangers first 5 at minus 110. I was very comfortable with that. Let's take a look at what we are dealing with price difference here. And now that I think about it, I should have focused on the White Sox not hitting lefties. And, maybe I should add the first 3. I said that I didn't want to double up here, but I think that is the more appealing spot right now. Let's take a look at the price difference. The Rangers are minus 103 full game. First 5 minus 110. Not much of a difference. Maybe I don't need to move more than that. Johnny Yim, looking forward to see you, my friend, at Woodbine as well. Well. I don't know if there's enough for me to move to add, but I think that the first 3 was probably made more sense than the first 5. And I'm not against adding the first 3 here. I just wish there was a bigger sign. Let's take a look at the cash flow. Maybe that will be enough to get me there. 62% of tickets, 59% of cash on the White Sox. I like that. 67% of tickets and 89% cash on the over. And Swiggy says, Rangers first 5 seems like a no-brainer. Look at those bat differences. Yeah, I mean, we're only going to get those differences for that first inning or first inning in a bit. I think the first 3 is more appealing than the first 5. And Godfather says, I mentioned this last night. Rangers are gearing up for a big matchup against the Mariners series at home. I'm trying to think how the Rangers will play today. Well, they need to win today, but I hear that. All right, let's roll on. We have our final spot on the Major League Baseball board. Then we got to go quite quickly through 6 games in the WNBA. I've moved on 4 of them. I want to move on a 5th. We have the Marlins, Houston Astros here. We're at Dyken Park in Houston, Texas, and we arrive at the taint play of the day, running extremely hot on a massive winning streak. Sweet taint from Matty Ice. 2-0 went taint yesterday. We believe the winning streak's at 8 or 9. We got to double check and see exactly what that winning streak is at. But taint is the Houston Astros, and this is what our guy Matty Ice says. A lot of these Astro bats have hard contact for Sandy, but Lambert at home is icing on the cake. I also moved on the Astros. I believe I got a minus 116. I will double check that. The addition was a first 3 under was what I wanted to move on, but I'm with him. Sandy Alcantara has been very good to us. Look, I'm not running to fade Sandy Alcantara. We cashed with him first 5 plus a half on Friday. I told you that it was a bet that just had to be made. It was 1-1 after 5 innings. He's been really good. He's been really good here, and it wouldn't shock me if he was good again. Peter Lambert, though, added 4 miles per hour of velocity, and he's been shoving. 3.03 ERA, 1.11 whip, 3.29 expected ERA. He's just been pitching at a very, very high level. We last saw him on July 17th, 1 run over 6 innings, struck out 10 at home versus the Orioles. So now he's got the consecutive home starts. He got 6 days of rest in between the July 11th start and the July 17th start. So I don't feel like he's dealing with a ton of arm fatigue. In the last 3 starts, he's thrown 17 and 2/3. He's allowed 9 hits and 2 earned runs. He struck out 23, walked 5. The guy's shoving right now. We have a huge advantage in the bullpen. 2.83 ERA, 1.19 whip for the Astros. Marlins, 5.11, 1.31 whip. They've been falling off. And then when it comes to the sticks, the Astros versus righties, 238, 744 OPS. Marlins versus righties, 282, 845 OPS. So it just works. The question is, do I want to add the first 3 under? Because I do believe in Alcantara. We have 10 cents of movement towards the Astros. It went from minus 105 to minus 115. It did go to minus 116, but we bought back a cent. And then when we get to the total here in this one, from a total standpoint, we have a big move to the over. It hasn't come back. I was wondering if there'd be any buyback, but there hasn't been. This was a juiced over 7.5, and now it's a heavily juiced over 8. Ski Profit in the house. Great to see you, Ski. Big day for Ski with 6 games in the WNBA as well. It was such a pleasure getting to hang out with the great Ski Profit. Man, that was really fun. What a great, great day. Man, sports book with Ski Profit in the afternoon. Does it get better than that? It does not. So here we go. Astros money line for me. Let's get into the cash flow, and also let's talk about the price difference. First 5 to full game here for the Astros. We have the Astros at minus 110, full game at Penny, and first 5 minus 118. The fact that this is moved to the over is probably just going to keep me off here of adding that first 3 under, which I'm okay with, and I will let it go. But I like the Astros full game, riding with the taint play today that is very, very hot. So that is our MLB for today. Let's take a look here at the action. So I have 17 bets in Major League Baseball. Game 1, Yankees first 5 minus a half. Game 1, Red Sox first 5 money line, and full game minus 1. And again, I got that first 5 money line minus 130 at Bet365. Which was a shock. And then, within an hour, it's back to, not back. I didn't know what it was before, but then it moved to minus 150. So I got in a nice spot. Angels first 5 minus 123. Angels full game minus 115. Dodgers full game minus 115. Detroit money line at plus 100. Now that line's now moving against me, although it's moved towards me overall. San Francisco first 5 minus 117. San Francisco full game minus 118. Washington, Colorado first 3 under 3.5 minus 120. Washington, Colorado first 5 under 6 at minus 113. Cincinnati first 5 plus a half at minus 110. Rays minus 105. Padres plus 103. San Diego, Atlanta first 3 under 2.5 at plus 105. Texas first 5 at minus 110. And Houston money line at minus 116. When it comes to additions, there is plenty of them. If the Yankees take care of business and Cole cashes that first 5 for me, and the Yankees win, I'll be interested in the Pirates first 5 plus a half against Fried, who's only going to have a 60-pitch limit. So that will be something I'll add. If the Red Sox win their 15th straight game, I will bet them to win their 16th straight game, and I will fade Bradish after the 90 milli, first 5 and full game. So then when we get to the Mets-Milwaukee game, first 3 under 2 and first 5 under 4, I will add. There's some nice additions here. Well, I hope they're nice. Then for additions, the first 3 under and first 5 under in Diamondbacks Athletics. Then Nothing there in that spot because I'm already on the Reds first 5 plus a half. Already on the Angels double up. Leaving, got the Dodgers full game. Not going to take them first 5. The full game under 8 in the first 3 under 2.5 in Twins Guardians. That's going to be a sweat. So quite a few additions. It's going to be a massive afternoon for me. Just a massive, massive card that we've got to bank on. Then I'm going to add the first 3 under in Detroit, Chicago Cubs. I'm going to add the Rangers first 3. And that's it. A lot of additions. Massive card. I'm pumped up. We're going to go over all the specialty plays of the day at the end of the show, but let's roll through the WNBA here, and we got to be quick. We start at 3 p.m. Eastern. Phoenix Mercury at the Los Angeles Sparks. We're at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California. Mercury come on off snapping their 5-game losing streak with a 72-63 victory at home over Connecticut on Sunday. The Sparks return home after losing all 4 games of their road trip. Finished with a 90-82 loss at Dallas on Sunday. Kelsey Plum, of course, remains out of the lineup with a leg injury. Now, this is sort of tinfoil hat psychological situation spot for me, but and I didn't get in early, so the line I moved it on the money line minus 135, and at this point I think I could probably get better than that right now. Yes, it's down to minus 120 or minus 122, which is uncomfortable, and we're going to go over the cash flow as well here. So there's some uncomfort here, but this is the way I see it. The Mercury snapped their losing streak. They get to relax for a second. It's been a terrible season for them. They snapped their losing streak. They're in Los Angeles, and they get to go party after tonight. Now, maybe they don't want to party. Maybe they just want to go on a vacation. Whatever. They want to leave basketball for a little while. On the other hand, the Sparks would love to get this win going into the All-Star break. I think that the Sparks have the Mercury right where they want them. Now, they probably want Kelsey Plum playing. We have 76% of the tickets on LA and 84% of the cash on Phoenix. 76% of the tickets on the over, 64% cash on the under. Rods White says bet against Los Angeles after 2 straight games, allowing a shooting percentage of 45% or higher. LA's record since 2025 is 3-16 here. And look, I just love this situation. If this was the NBA, I would bet this for sure, without a doubt. Maybe I'd be a little nervous because it's the game before the All-Star break. But here I just got to trust it. I got to trust the fact that the Mercury are relaxed and the Sparks do not want to go into this break with losers of – because didn't they lose their game before the road trip? I mean, they've lost at least 4 straight, but I think they lost the game before their road trip as well. They don't want this to continue. I think you get maximum effort from the Sparks, and the Mercury are excited to go on a trip. Is the way I see it. I'm on the Sparks money line, and I've got confidence. Let's talk about the next spot on the board. Minnesota Lynx, Seattle Storm. I've got the future on the Lynx at plus 650. It's a far cry from Ron Crawford's plus 1200. It's my only future in the WNBA. We're at Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. So these teams coming off a very hard-fought 105-102 Lynx win here on Monday. And now Fee is back. Nafisa Collier is back. It's a huge, huge deal for the WNBA. It's a big, big deal for the Minnesota Lynx, and I want to fade them badly. And I am not alone. The stacks play today number 2 is the Seattle Storm at plus 10.5. Before Fee was going to play in this game, this line was moving towards the Storm. And when Fee was announced, I was able to then get a better line. Let's see what it is now here. But in the game, listen to this. So it's a six straight win for the Lynx. Kayla McBride makes 6 threes, scores 33. Olivia Miles goes for 32 points, 8 boards, and 8 assists. So McBride, Miles, and Courtney Williams scored 30 of Minnesota's 37 field goals, and they went 18 for 18 at the free throw line. Come on. Now they've got to work their superstar back into the rotation. It just feels extremely appealing right now to fade this spot. The 10.5s are widely available. You get a 10 or a 10.5. I think it's a must bet. 56% of tickets, 56% of the cash is on Seattle. 60% of tickets and 89% of cash is on the over. I really like the spot. Here. So Storm plus 10.5 for me. Game 3 on the board. Chicago Sky, New York Liberty. This was just me being a little late to capping. I mean, clearly you want to fade the Liberty after they snap their losing streak with that 99-98 overtime victory against Dallas on Monday. They fly back to New York on Tuesday, and the Chicago Sky are playing really well. They're playing really well. They had their modest 2-game winning streak snapped in that tough 93-91 loss at Atlanta on Sunday. Skylar Diggins is out of the lineup. For the Liberty, Phoebich and Sabali are out of the lineup. I should pull up the exact lineups right now for the WNBA. So we have lineups. Oops, let's get these up here just to see the expectation here. So Diggins is out, and Phoebich and Sabali's out. Johannes is a game time decision. When this was 11.5 and it moved to 8.5, I got it. And I even said last night that it's probably worth betting now, but I'm not doing it. I can't do it. Now we have a flat 7. Some books have a 7.5. Unbelievable. AM says this line has gone too far. Don't chase late numbers, but Liberty have value here. We'll see how far it goes, but it just doesn't. I just hate the spot. I can't get on them. I hate the spot for them. But God, I'm jealous of those with 11.5s and 10.5s. I'm off here. And when we get to the cash flow for this spot, we have 73% of the tickets. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. We have 63% of the tickets on Chicago, 57% of cash on New York, 53% of tickets on the over, 94% of cash on the over. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board, Aces, Mystics, Care First Arena, Washington, D.C. I do not want to fade the Mystics ever. They're more than the sum of their parts. They're the best rebounding team in the WNBA. They can dominate teams on the glass. But this is a horrific spot for them. They have back-to-back games against a very tough Valkyrie spot. They barely lose game 1, and then they beat them in game 2, 90-82. And then yesterday they fly from San Francisco to Washington. It's just not fair. This could be the last time I fade the Mystics all year, but I have to fade them here. Have to. Aces began the road trip with a thrill 109-93 victory at Toronto on Monday. They're rested. That was the beginning of their road trip. It's just an unfair situation here. We have 6.5s. I thought it went back to a 6, didn't it? Wow, I didn't realize that. This got up to a 7 at 8 this morning. Then I only saw it at 6. I didn't realize it got to a 7. Now we're back at a 6.5. It's too bad that the Mystics have to deal with this. From a total standpoint, it's a huge move to the over from 159 to 166. A massive, massive move towards the over. And this is a healthy Mystics team that's going to be exhausted. Exhausted here. But Rod Swag says dog of the day. So I think the implication here is he is on the Mystics with AM. They're a great basketball team in a terrible situation. They're a good basketball team in a terrible, terrible situation. It just couldn't be worse. I can't imagine. It can't be worse. And I think they'll suffer in the fourth quarter. If you still want the Mystics, I would take them early because their legs are going to get heavy. Next point on the board, Connecticut Sun, Indiana Fever. I did move on the Connecticut Sun after sitting with it for a while. Let's take a look at who we expect in. That's a big part. The Connecticut Sun are a banged-up team. So Sanaya Rivers is a game-time decision. Aaliyah Edwards out, and Brittany Grinder is a game-time decision. Let's see if we can get a little more information. Are any of them probable? Griner is questionable. I mean, she probably. Why would you play her if you're right about to have the break here? And Sanaya is questionable as well. Sammy Kolker said that Rivers was probable last game, was randomly ruled out last minute. Says he thinks she plays. Says Morrow is back in the lineup. Huge piece for the Sun. This is a good matchup for the Sun. We have AM on the Fever minus 10.5 here. Fever coming off winning their 4th win in 5 games, 108-88 at home versus the Liberty on Sunday. And when we talk about the injuries for this Fever squad, Caitlin Clark, a game time decision here. And she's listed as probable, so she'll be good to go. Let's get into the line history for this spot. This total opened up at 175. It's now 178. And when we get into the line history here, we're sitting here at the 10.5. There's mostly 10s now. But I got the 10.5, and I think that the Connecticut Sun can be in this game. They had their modest 2-game winning streak snapped in a 72-63 loss at the Mercury on Sunday. So they haven't played since Sunday. They're coming off of a loss. I think they put out all-out effort here in the game before the All-Star break. Final spot on the board is a bet I want to make. I want to be on the Portland Fire, but I want Paige Beckers to be announced in the lineup Really want Paige Beckers to be announced in the lineup. Let's see what we are dealing with Beckers. Game time decision. She didn't play last game, so we thought she would play this game, but day to day right now, we will see here. AM is on the Wings -5.5. They coming off a tough 99-98 overtime loss at home to the Liberty, snapped their 6-game winning streak. We know Fudd's going to be in that 3-point competition. Beckers missed that last game. The Fire come in off their second loss in 3 games, 101-93 at the Lynx on Saturday. It's a rested squad at home. And these teams that are a little more than the sum of their parts, and they're the Dogs, I think it's pretty easy to expect them to give maximum effort the day before the All-Star break, and I think that's what we get here. I'm just waiting. I want Beckers to be announced in, and I want the better line. It would have been a 4.5 last night. This went from 5.5 to 4.5. Now we're back at a 5.5. Beckers gets announced in, and I move here. The Godfather on Sophie Cunningham over 1.5 threes says, cleared this prop in 3 of her last 4 games and has attempted at least 4 threes in 4 of her last 5. So I've got 4 bets in the WNBA, and I'm expecting to add 1 more. When we get to that cash flow here in the Dallas-Portland game, 71% of the tickets are on Dallas, 90% of the cash. It's perfect. I think it's not perfect because AM's on the other side, which means that I should make sure that I've got the conviction. But I really like the spot, and I really want Beckers to be announced in, and then I think the Fire are in this basketball game. Rod White says, bet against Dallas after a combined score of 185 or more. Dallas record during 2020 season 0-7 against the spread. I have the Sparks money line at -135, Aces at -6.5, Storm plus 10.5, Sun plus 10.5, and hopefully a Fire plus 6.5. Maybe I can't be 7. I can't get to 7, can I? Pages announced in. But that's what I'm looking for. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Let's review our best bets here. Shotgun play today for Ron Crawford is Seattle, and Don saying that he's going to be on the Fire at 5. Yeah, I'm just going to wait, Don, very patiently. Just going to wait. Hope Beckers is announced in and then attack it. Stacks play today, number 1, Bellinger over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at +128, and Seattle Storm plus 10.5. Coin is on the under 8 in Rays, Jays. Philly Eagle Flyer is on tied after 2 innings on the Brewers game, Royals game, Braves game, and Astros games. 9 legacy flank stake play of the day is the Milwaukee Brewers. He's also on Chicago plus 7.5, Storm plus 10.5, the Sun plus 10.5, and the Fire plus 5.5, and the Mystics plus 6.5. And he cashes with these dogs. Toby Lane's play of the day is the Sparks money line. I don't like that line is moved against us. I don't like that at all. And then more plays of the day. Just my 2 cents play of the day is Cardinals plus 108. Matty Ice favorite player prop is Ben Rice over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs in game 1. Taint play of the day is the Houston Astros at -120. Free bands play of the day is the Red Sox money line. And Rod Zawacki's play of the day is the Jays, the Toronto Blue Jays here. And then TJ's play of the day is Cincinnati first 5 plus a half here. Toby Lane says he doesn't like it either. I think it's explainable, though, Toby. I think that we're on the Sparks for psychological reasons, not because of the numbers. Topset says San Francisco is his top bet of the day. We are both on that together. I love to hear that. When I look at my action, what is the best bet on the board here? What is the best bet on the board here? I would say there's my man Deacon Mike in the house. I would say that my favorite bet, I'll just have to take a quick look again to see, because you want the market to be moving in your favor as well. You want it all to correlate here. So let's see. I would say that my best bet is this is tricky. I think it's the Houston Astros full game. Houston Astros full game. I think that's the best bet of the day for me. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Johnny Bender's play day is on Houston as well. So the 3 of us are on the Astros. No, I think that's what it would be. The best bets for AM are the Wings and the Mystics. Best bet in the WNBA for AM. Good luck to you, AM. That is our show for today. Thank you to all the cappers rocking with us. Geobed, The Godfather, AM, Deacon Mike, Top Set, Toby Lane, Johnny Bender, Robert Franklin, Rod Zawacki, Don. Thank you guys. AOD, Justin McKelvey, 180, Rolly, Sick from the Fall. Thank you guys. Sharpie, Nasty, Nate, Ski Prophet, Malek. All of you guys, thank you so much for running with us. Johnny Yim, can't wait to see you up at Woodbine. Ken Mizrahi, Mr. Heat, thank you guys. For Show 94, thank you guys, man. Let's go get this cash. Let's continue succeeding. Have a great time on the Daily Sesh with Dutch Boy Fresh, Dabby Cab, and Chappie Funkadelic. Thank you to Swiggy on the ones and twos. Now let's go get this money, man. Leche! Hey, los bookmakers. Man, let's get it.
It's easier to sleep in the black when you're losing your ass and feeling so. You know what to do. Tune in to Pop Sports Radio. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's a roller coaster ride. You're gonna catch a bad beat. No problem, keep your head up and just bet the spreadsheet. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. All thanks to Jeff Slaughter, these shows have our backs. POD's always rolling, especially the stats. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. We got Jimmy, Jose, Dabby and the fam, Dutch Wine Time, Spooner and OG Wham. So hit the like button, don't say that you can't. If you know what's best, just put your money on tape.